Welcome to the Fantasy Happy Hour. Fantasy Happy Hour. Presented by Sportsneak. With your hosts, Justin Sauce and Terry Licious. Starting in 3, 2, 1.
Boom. Welcome back. Week 13, episode 91, I believe. So we're 10 away or 9 away from 100, the big 100. We'll have to get some fancy balloons like we're influencers. This week, we got two of the teams that played last Thanksgiving Thursday. We got the Buffalo Bills, 8-3, versus their divisional rivals, the New England Patriots, 6-5. Bills coming off a way closer game against Detroit than I think people anticipated with a 28-25 win. That one was an exciting one to start the morning off last Thursday. And the Pats coming off a loss to your Vikings, 33-26. Pats sitting last in the division there right now. Taryn, what do you got for this big divisional Thursday night matchup, which should be an exciting one?
Yeah, this should be good. Really good division game here. Of course, the Patriots need to stay in the fold here with Miami and the Bills because they're both kind of looking to hit that 10-win mark pretty easily. And then, of course, is this the turkey hangover game? Both these teams have equal rest, which is nice to see. So you don't have to worry about, a rest issue. This is at Gillette, so worth noting it will be about -4, expected to be clear. I hope I have the right stadium this time. But I think that is correct here. So you expect a cold game, might be a little sluggish. So that's one thought to take into this. But let's look at injuries. Von Miller is out now, I think, for a while. Josh Allen, he had the Q tag. Now he doesn't have the Q tag. So I think he was always likely to play. But on the other side, there's more injury news. I mean, Parker and Myers both with Q tags, and then Deontay Harris looks to be out, which, I mean, it's huge news for Ramondre Stevenson. They've also, they got rid of JJ Taylor, so there's really no backups to Ramondre. If Harris doesn't go, he still has a Q tag, but they're saying likely out. So that basically makes Ramondre probably the easy play in this game. But we'll start at quarterback. Josh Allen hasn't slowed down. He's been battling injuries here for a few weeks. This is a tough matchup. I mean, the Patriots D, as we talked about last week, is strong. Didn't show much strength against a Vikings team who was struggling. They couldn't even get to the quarterback, which I was shocked by. But nice to see the Vikings crush them. But Josh Allen still running the ball regularly. He's getting about his 70, 80 yards here. Tough D, but I think overall this should be a game for Josh Allen to get his 20 to 25 DK points. Kirk Cousins and Jefferson found openings all over this defense. I mean, Jefferson was making some unbelievable catches, but Allen Diggs, I think, is very, very in play in this game to be kind of a similar stack to the Cousins Jefferson. I think his ownership will be high, though, so think about that with Josh Allen. Cold weather division game could be a reason to maybe get off him. He'll be around 90%, I assume. So maybe this is an ugly game and you just kind of go away from it a bit. But on the other side, Mac Jones, they put return to the Mac.
Notification on your phone.
Oh, okay. After horrific quarterback play in the prior weeks, Mac Jones comes back with 380 and 2 TDs against the Vikings D. Vikings D is probably one of the bottom defenses here in the last few weeks. I mean, that's not a good comparable, but the Bills also haven't been playing that great on D, giving up quite a bit to Goff last week, who, isn't a strong quarterback in his own right. But we are seeing the Pats offensive line play phenomenal football here. So I think you could definitely go to Mac Jones with Ramondre, because Ramondre is a great backfield play. He comes out of the backfield, caught, I think, 9 receptions last week. So he's stackable together. And that's been a common theme this season, is stacking a quarterback with a running back. So I think you can definitely go to Mac Jones, but I think you have to put Ramondre with him just based on how their games have been going. Move over, talk about Ramondre. I think he's the lock this week. Gets it done through the air and on the ground. No Damian Harris. The backups are guys I've never heard of. So he was 9 for 76 through the air last week, but he didn't get a TD. He's definitely stackable with Mac Jones, which is nice. They don't have JJ Taylor anymore, meaning the backups, I think, are strong. And another Harris. I forget his first name, but it's a second Harris. And with this O-line looking good, I do think about those 2 backup running backs as cheap options because of how good this offensive line is and how much the Patriots run the ball. And there's not a lot of savings here. It's very tough to find cheap guys in this game. So maybe look there to the Strong or Harris. They play a lot of special teams, so maybe they'll get in based on how this game works out, or look for the Patriots to sign somebody this week. Running backs for the Bills, Singletary certainly gets the most usage, but this is a tough defense to kind of run on. So I would expect Josh Allen to do the bulk of the running. I would take the secondary guys like James Cook, Naheem Hines in this area, because I think they'll be dumping off a lot more against a really good run D. So I think that's really all to say there. I really like Naheem Hines to have a breakout game here at some point. Everybody's been leaning more towards James Cook, but Naheem Hines maybe can get in the fold since being traded or signed over here. Wide receivers, Jacoby Myers still the top option for the Patriots, but Aguilar seeing the field, majority of the snaps, he's kind of taken over as a second guy, especially with Parker out, but Parker was back last week. And even then, Aguilar was kind of the guy that he ended up going to on the deep ball. Hard to trust any of these Patriots wide receivers, but because it's mostly due to the usage. They just don't get a lot of targets outside of Jacoby Myers. But Jacoby's kind of banged up, so I would be worried that he might, re-aggravate his injury. He's coming in with a Q tag. So maybe look to the speedy deep threats in Parker or Aguilar. I think I like Aguilar more. Or if you want to go deep to a cheap guy, Tyquan Thornton. He is a speedster. He was kind of the replacement to Parker to come in. So he did get 2 TDs in one game a while back, and showdown. This could be a long shot that maybe works out for you. The Bills are very concentrated with all the injuries to their backup wide receivers. So it's McKenzie, Diggs, and Davis. McKenzie had the big game last week. I think everybody chases him, and I think Davis is the guy that gets forgotten among these three. So I like going Diggs, Davis stacks. It's going to be very expensive, but you'll have to kind of find ways to squeeze that in. Diggs is certainly the highest upside guy here. I think this is a great spot for him. A big game last week for Jefferson. Compare that this week. Maybe Diggs gets there. This is a cold game, so you might not see as much throwing, and that also usually means catching the balls a little tougher for these guys. But I mean, these guys are pros. I expect big games from top talent in the league. But if you look any deeper, the whole depth chart's hurt here for wide receivers on the Bills. I mean, you'd have to dig to like who's coming up off the practice squad here and hope for a touchdown. So if you want, that's really the shot to take. But right now, everybody listed is out or on IR. So check your DK and see what you can slide in from there. Tight ends. These is 2 teams with very good tight ends. Dawson Knox and Hunter Henry are both their top pass catching options. They're going to get the usage. Hunter Henry should have had 2 TDs last week, juggled the goal line pass there, and then they called it incomplete, but he would have had the second touchdown. I think he's a great stack with Ramondre Stevenson if you don't want to play Mac Jones. I think he's kind of a very reliable outlet for him. And then Knox is always in play to kind of change up your Bills stacks, because everybody tends to go to, Bill stacks here. They tend to go Diggs and one other receiver. Knox is a good way to get off that and be a little different. So I think you maybe go on Davis and Knox instead of Diggs and McKenzie, because I do think Diggs and McKenzie would be the most popular. Might be a good way to go in this game. Overall, I think this should be a good game, and you could actually go to the low scoring affair here with both defenses. I think both these defenses do have points available if this game kind of goes that way, but I think it's a run New England side, pass on the Bills side, just by tendency of these 2 teams. So let's pass it to the kickers here. There's a bit of a mess on one side, I think.
Well, I would say a little bit of a mess, but it's an interesting week for the kickers here. We'll go to the Bills first. We got Tyler Bass at $6,300. Great price point. If you're really like, you look at the price point on DK this morning, there was a lot of 5-figure options, and it's going to be very difficult to fit 4 of those. Like, you have basically got to take 3 and then 3 of other things under 10K just to get something reasonable here. But Tyler Bass, 10.3 fantasy points per game. 23 for 26 on his field goals on the year, which is good for 88.5%. Long on the year, 56-yarder. And how about, let's go back to last week, Justin Tucker with that massive 67-yarder where he was just shy. But that would have been sick. Tyler Bass and Nick Folk this week, not quite like Justin Tucker, but hey, they'll do. Just looking at the past 3 weeks here for Tyler Bass, all over 10 fantasy points each game, which is, for that price point, great considering you're taking a shot elsewhere on the field. Reliable kicker. However, we look at his division games this year, 5 and 7 fantasy points. They've been low scoring affairs against the divisional rivals. So just something to note there. I do like him though. Good mix up for some of the options. Going to the other side with Nick Folk, he's at $6,000, slightly cheaper, and right 9.7 fantasy points per game. So you mean you're taking the hit on half a point, but we'll get to the reason where that half point might come in. He's got a 52 long on the year. He's 85.7%. So that's good for 24 of 28 field goals. You look at his last 4, he's got 21 fantasy points, 17 fantasy points, 15 fantasy points, 4 fantasy points. So he's really, they're relying on him, and he's making a lot of great kicks and getting a lot of action the last few weeks here. So I personally, I would lean a little bit more to the, especially if you're going with the running script, they might be running it and then not getting too far down the field and him kicking a few this week. So I do like Nick Folk slightly more than Tyler Bass, just because Pats might have to rely on him just to get the points to keep up in the game. But anything else that you got and notice in this one, Big Tear? You're muted, or we lost a microphone.
Oh, no, I think I was muted. I think playing Josh Allen here with trying to get away from some of the popular plays might be the move. Maybe going naked Josh Allen with some secondary guys, or Josh Allen with Hines and someone different. Maybe Gabe Davis. Maybe it's Gabe Davis week. I like Gabe Davis at a captain spot to be different too. He tends to get blow up games or very low kind of average games. So I think that's a good way to get off the most popular captains being probably Diggs, Allen, and Stevenson. So maybe that's the way to go. Have fun with the game.
Yeah, let's just rely on some kickers this week. We've had a lot of soccer going on, a lot of kicking going on this week. So I know Americans tied England, Canada eliminated, but we got big Fonzie Davies out there getting that first Canadian World Cup goal. But something's telling me you go with a kicker this week because a lot of kicking action going on. But thanks for watching. If you guys enjoyed this, give it a thumbs up, comment who you're taking, what your thoughts are about these games. We're in week 13, folks. 5 more weeks, and then we got some playoffs, and we'll be wrapping her up for the 2022 season. And if you really enjoy our stuff, give us a subscribe. Just do it. Thanks. And we'll see you next week. Peace.